So we are at the end of the main track. This is the end of the set discussions and presentations for the week. We're so grateful to all of the people who have been involved, and now I get to list them out one by one. But first, the capture the flag. The radio resilience, they just presented, and we do want to thank them for coming and being part of the event. That was definitely something fun, and I believe that is something that they plan on continuing in the future. So keep an eye out and see if there's future developments from them. Capture the signal, though. So this is the plot of how the scores have progressed throughout the week. Looking at it, you can see that there's a few early contenders who started out quite quickly, and then it really leveled out for a while. But towards the end, just over the last day or so, there's been a couple of teams which have really shot up ahead. I have some notes that I can't see from here, so I might have to just pull those up in a second. These are the final places, though. The mysterious E comes in quite high. Is E here in the room? Is E willing to fess up to being in the room? Wow. Congratulations to whoever E is. To radio coders, the aerospace team Platypus, who I know are at least in part present. Did you have anyone remote? Okay. So it is fair to bring in outside team members. This was a hybrid event, so all good. And everyone else who participated, there were some statistics, and I'll just break out of my slides so that I can try and read those. There we are. So 33 teams solved at least one challenge. The top team solved all but one of the 14 challenges. 5 of the challenges were submitted by participants here in the room, I believe, including the aerospace team, I think, submitted some of them. Did you complete your own? Does that count? Cool. There were 156 correct submissions, outweighed 10 to 1 by the 1,520 incorrect submissions. So it turns out you can try and brute force some of these. In the last few minutes, there were a few very amusing submissions, and these are the top ones. So there was "Give me points," which, if that's not a flag in a future GRCon, I'd be very surprised. The classic Konami code, up, up, down, down, left, right, A, B, or BA. Oops, I would have failed. And then a SQL injection attack. So, well tried. Pretty sure that a CTF platform is not going to be quite that susceptible. And what was the answer? And the trick there was you had to have 6 question marks. 5 just wasn't quite the right code. Grant, jumping back in. Cool. So the Capture the Signal event was arranged fairly last minute. This was something where we had some hopes of who would be able to contribute an event this year, and that wasn't possible, like so many things. And so we reached out to Marco and Federico, who gave their presentation on Monday about the event, and they were able to put this together in absolutely record time. And that's because they've been running Capture the Signal events like this at many events over the past couple of years. So they stepped in, they volunteered their time and effort and challenges to run that for us here. And that's just a huge service that they've done for us. I know that that's something that so many people have enjoyed. They do have their own website, cts.ninja, and they're quite interested in running more of these events in the future and figuring out how to take less of their time to do it, to turn this more into a CTS in a box, I believe, or CTS as a service. So if you're interested at all in running this sort of event in other venues, in other occasions, or within your own company, do reach out to them. I think they're interested in having those conversations. Also, I wanted to acknowledge Argulo, Aiken Smith, who stepped up in about 30 seconds flat when I sent a message on Matrix saying, okay, we have challenges, but the main organizers are in a completely different time zone. Can you be our local moderator? And yes, absolutely. And that room's been super busy. I haven't been following it, but I think he's been doing a great job. So thank you to all three of them. Tomorrow, yes, no, this is not the end of the convention. This is not the end of the conference. We do have one more day. We have a set of breakout sessions ranging from GNU Radio Companion developments. So where will we be going with that in the future? I think there's going to be a demonstration of a port of it to Qt, which hopefully will be one of the future directions of the code base, but also what features would you like to see? How can we get there? Other features like that. Women at GRCon. This is one of those occasions where if you look around the room, you can tell why we need this session so much. We as a community, we as an industry, need to recognize the fact that there are a lot of historically excluded folks, and anything that we can do to improve that, we should be doing. GNU Radio documentation. Matt Edis brought up how useful Julia is, and so wants to jump into a room and talk with anyone who's interested in seeing Julia as a DSP language, and even potentially how that could be linked into GNU Radio in real time. Barry Duggan will be facilitating the amateur radio discussion, and we have a GPU acceleration session led by Josh later on in the afternoon. These sessions don't fall under the workshop pass, so if you're following along online, all of the ones labeled hybrid here have big blue button links, and those will be posted into chat quite possibly as I'm speaking, but certainly very soon. So please do find those, and they'll be linked from the main event website as well. Tomorrow we do have an in-person amateur radio exam. If you pre-registered for that, please bring along all the documents that you need to bring along. And that starts at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Oh, and thank you to the examiners. I mean, all of the examiners for this as well are volunteers. Some of them even showed up today to make sure that they were all prepared for the space. So a huge thank you to the W4CQ Club for stepping in and volunteering to run this. And this is where it starts turning on and off into an Oscars presentation. This community has come together and run this event, and it does take a half dozen slides to get through everyone who is involved with this. So the main organizers are listed here. These are the people who have stepped forward on an ongoing and regular basis throughout the year. There will no doubt be people who also deserve recognition, and we have a few of those in the next slide. But between Sam, myself, Josh Morman, Barry Duggan, Andre Rode, Steve Croft, Nathan West, and Marcus Mueller, they've all stepped forward and done a huge amount of work for this. So I want to particularly thank them. Also involved, as I said at the beginning, and I'll say at the end, the Open Research Institute was fundamental to organizing what would have been GRCon20. So all of the venue selection, the arrangements, the NASCAR Hall of Fame, which was an amazing choice. All of that preparation and negotiation was done with their support. And while they're not here this year, we're tremendously grateful for what they handed on to us for this year. And then for this year, the SETI Institute for taking on that and helping us with all of the arrangements that a bunch of individuals would have difficult doing on their own. Yeah. Our hands might get a little bit tired, but I'd love to try and find out whether that's true. Confreaks at the back of the room, returning for the third year, supporting GNU Radio Conference with live streaming for the second time. This is our first hybrid event, and they've been absolute champs for coming along with us on the journey of figuring out how to do that. They gave us a lot of their experience and knowledge of what works, and we tried a bunch of things that didn't. So all of those are on us. Everything that worked is on them. And we definitely hope that this won't be the last time you see this logo up on the front. So thank you, Confreaks. The folks in the room here won't have seen this probably as much, but for everyone who's virtual and joined in on any of the workshops, this was our second year using Big Blue Button. And this is a service that is a free and open source classroom software, which has really taken off over the last couple of years and sees extensive use. We're very fortunate that the core developers of that project have chosen to support GNU Radio Conference by providing hosting for this, and actually hosting year-round. So if you join some of the other breakout sessions that we run intermittently through the year, it's on the Big Blue Button platform. And Blindside Networks is the actual organization that directly provides that hosting. So thank you very much to them. Additionally, there were a few people who stepped up on site. Some of these were recruited. Some of these were voluntold. Some of them were volunteers who we did not fully let know ahead of time that we would be asking them to step up again. But thank you very much to Michael West, Michael Dickens, and Jeff Long for helping us so much on site. And also to everyone who has done something here and there. There's been a lot of people who've said, just let us know what you need. And every now and then we've pointed at somebody and said, we need this. And it's just happened. And that's definitely some of the grease that makes GNU Radio run so smoothly. This hotel venue was something that certainly, we planned this event for 400 people. And they have worked with us to figure out how to make it work for quite a few fewer. They've been great to work with, very communicative, and it's a great building. We've certainly enjoyed as much of the facilities as we can get access to, and they've really let us into just every nook and cranny of the conference center. So thank you very much to them, particularly Jamie Ostrin, who's been our main contact here. The wireless doesn't work so well for a human body, it turns out. But the content that's been given from the main stage here, everyone who comes up and presents, we're not in a position, unfortunately, to financially compensate the speakers. So everyone is a volunteer who comes up and speaks. Whether you're doing it for an organization or you're doing it for an individual project, you're coming up here and sharing your experience with everyone. And that is the absolute lifeblood of the main track. To all of the attendees, we had just under 100 who checked in, 99. So if you've forgotten to check in, the registration desk is still open. We'd love to break into the triple digits. And actually, the one very important thing is that we did collect room numbers when you were signing in. If you stayed at the hotel and you didn't give us your room number, please, please, please do. That helps us get credit for your stay here at the hotel. And so it is functionally directly a financial support for the project. Virtually, we had 400 people register online. We had over 100 people register for the workshops. And we definitely hope to grow this more and more in the future and keep this accessibility open as much as possible. Some things have been difficult to accommodate. We've learned some lessons, but we hope that it'll be at least as good next year, if not better. This is a graph from the beginning. Ben usually opens the conference with this, but I thought we'd do it on the last day because you see that last spike? That's this week. So that's a lot of the online registrations have come in at the very last minute, and we're very glad to have you. We hope that you can keep an eye out for the conference a little bit earlier next year. And then integrated over time, this is our total income. And again, that last bump is actually during this week. So it's not terrible. It's not exponential. Thank you. But let's try and flatten the curve for next year as well, eh? Staying in the loop. This is the end of the main track, and it is the end of the live stream. And so we wanted to give you just some top tips on how to stay in touch with the community throughout the rest of the year. The main venue, really these days, is the chat. So if you're in the conference chat already, somebody will post a link to the main general chat channel, and that's the #GNU Radio room. That's where all the main conversations occur throughout the year. If you have questions, this is the place to get them answered. If you'd like to find any of the topical side rooms, asking in here will probably get you a pointer to it. If there's one place you're going to go, it's the main chat. We do have our Discuss GNU Radio mailing list and other ways of getting in touch. Those are listed under the How to Get Involved page, and quite a few things that wouldn't fit on this slide. I did want to particularly point out the one kind of odd one out, the scheduler working group, conversations around where the GNU Radio 4.0 development is going to go. You can get email announcements of some of the work that's being done there using the groups.io mailing list. We do also have a scheduler room, again, in the chat system that's great for a lot of the finer grain conversations. And this is the point where we also thank all of the organizations and companies that have come forwards and said that this project is of value to them and they want to contribute back. So we had 22 companies that ended up sponsoring ahead of time, and one that came in during the conference. So thank you very much to all of them. I want to particularly highlight the ones that have gone above and beyond and really supported the project quite substantially. Edis Research, part of NI, has come again and again and again, year after year, and they've always asked, you know, what's the top tier and how can we be in it? So thank you very much to Edis. OpenCPI, unfortunately not active in this year's event. This is support that they put in all the way back in 2020 and said, you know what, this is something that the project should hold on to. You know, we believe in GNU Radio and we want to be part of this community in the long run. And so we very much hope that we see them on the other side of COVID at GRCon 2022. The Radio Resilience Competition, we've heard lots about them. They came in and not only provided a great event for people to participate in, a workshop and talk, but they also directly sponsored. Analog Devices, another organization that returns year after year, as will several of the next ones. I greatly appreciate it. This slide may return again and again. Epic Solutions, again, a mainstay of the conference, and it's great to hear from them year after year. Rampart Communications, a baby wearing a mustache, but we hope that as you grow up, you remember us, and we're very grateful to have you here right from the beginning, and look forward to seeing where it goes. Paraton Labs and Blacklinks, both key to development of the GNU Radio 4.0 scheduler. Xilinx and DeepSig, I think, but both of you would be fair to say have quite a strong interest in seeing where SDR goes in terms of heterogeneous compute and different accelerations, machine learning. Microsoft, DeepWave Digital, SETI Institute, the Berkeley SETI Research Center, and Breakthrough Listen Project, the Amateur Radio Digital Communications Group, Vesprix and Redwire Technologies, SkySafe, Duggan Computer Systems, RL Marlowe Consulting, Atom Computing, Embedded Now, Sandia National Labs. Thank you all for coming on again this year. This event would not be possible to run again without your sponsorship this year. This is definitely an effort that goes from year to year, and coming out of this one healthy is in large part to the sponsorship that we get. So where will we be next year? We don't know. And a big part of that is we don't know whether to plan for 150 people or for 600 people. 600 is probably a little bit ambitious, but depending on where we went, it's not impossible. You know, up until 2019, well, up until 2020, we were growing year over year, not explosively, but quite sturdily. You know, everyone who was coming is the type of people who would come back year after year and find a lot of value in the conference. And so we need a venue, and we will travel. If you have ideas of venues like this, You know what we need out of a venue, and you know your local areas best. Drop us tips. GRCon@guinearadio.org. We'd like to hear. We have a few ideas, but they're really too early to share, and we wouldn't want to make promises when we have no idea what next September will look like. We will run in the same time, almost certainly, so pencil us into your calendar, and hopefully we'll have updates for you either later this year or more likely very early spring. We need volunteers. We will train you. If you're interested in seeing some of the work that goes on behind this conference, also send us an email. We have jobs small to large. We do want to hear what you thought about this year's event. You can go onto our main Indico website and just scroll down to survey and take our survey. There's a few short questions there, and just drop us what you think. There's lessons that we've already written down as learned, and hopefully you'll have a few that we haven't thought of yet. So we'll see you online. We'll see you next year, and that's the end of the main track. So thank you very much for coming, and have a good rest of your afternoon. I suppose I have a few ad hoc announcements to go there. One of them is, I know that there are a bunch of people here who have come as individuals or small groups for the first time. The Thursday evening has no organized activities. However, it is a time when usually people go out and they socialize over dinner. And one of the joyous things is that that's often not as core teams. Usually teams go out together on Tuesday. I'm sure that there will be groups that go out, but if you don't have plans for this evening and you'd like to continue socializing with people here, find other people, meet in the entryway, and there'll be people going out to dinner or staying in. Sam, do you have anything?
Yep, see GRCon discuss for the location that sounds like people are heading to.
Yes, destinations, tips, call for groups. The GRCon discussion channel will, of course, stay open for the next day or so. So thanks very much, and see you all tomorrow.